Meghan launched the first episode of her new Spotify podcast, Archetypes, this week. In it, she made a number of claims about the royal family, including an allegation that she was told she had to leave her baby on a tour of South Africa after being told a fire had broken out in a room where her son Archie was meant to have been sleeping. But her half-sister is less than impressed with Meghan's big debut. Appearing on GB News Dan Wootton tonight, she said, "It was kind of odd. It sounded more like a seductive commercial of sorts." GB News Dan then asked her, "Were you surprised that she tried to make out like she's some sort of repressed victim?" To this, Samantha replied, "This is my humble opinion. It's rather lofty to suggest the ability to align with issues of womanhood and suffering on those grounds." She did bring up the fact that she went to Immaculate Heart School, and that they were empowered by the nuns. "But wait a minute, who paid? That was all my dad. So let's face it, we're not raised in a vacuum. We have to include the men when we're self-glorifying." Dan later probed Samantha on Meghan's claims about ambition and the sexism she says exists in the world. But Samantha accused her half-sister of a deluded level of entitlement and hit out at Meghan for emasculating Prince Harry. Referring to the moment in the podcast where the Duke makes a cameo appearance, Samantha added, "After the wedding was over, it felt as though Harry was in her shadow. Why have him in at all if he's not being included? I felt it was kind of insulting to have him included." Throughout the podcast series, the Duchess will investigate labels that try to hold women back. Piers Morgan has been unrelenting in his criticism of Meghan Markle, but he's now taken aim at her close friend Omid Scobie, who he has branded deluded in his support of the royal. The feud between Piers and the Duchess of Sussex was reignited this week when she released the first episode of her new Spotify podcast Archetypes. In the episode, which featured tennis legend Serena Williams as a guest, Meghan, wife of Prince Harry, discussed her experience as a new mum and the double standards women face when they are labelled ambitious. She also lamented one occasion where she had to continue with engagements on a royal tour of South Africa, despite her son's playroom accidentally setting fire a short while before, leaving everyone shaken up. Her comments criticizing the routine of royal tours has naturally stirred up her critics, prompting her friend and author Omid to jump to her defense. In a tweet to promote his latest column applauding the Duchess for speaking out, Omid said, "Once silenced by the institution, Meghan finally has her voice back. A voice that will be very familiar to those who followed her before meeting Harry. This time, however, she's brought an entire movement alongside it." Uncensored host Piers caught wind of Meghan's comments and replied, "Is this the silenced voice that's spent the last 2 years publicly trashing her family for $? I've seen some deluded lickspittles in my time, but this guy's beyond parody." He also denied any suggestion that his criticism of Meghan is race-related, tweeting, "My views of Ms. Markle have nothing to do with her skin color, and everything to do with the way she trashes the royal family whilst fleecing her royal status for massive financial gain." Piers had more to say about her podcast shortly after it was released on the streaming giant, adding, "It's not your ambition we dislike, Princess Pinocchio, it's the vile way you trash the royal family whilst simultaneously exploiting your royal status for millions of dollars as with this podcast.